So we're going to work on a bit of the first variation that comes to the end of the first variation to move to the second variation. You don't really notice the change because there's no apparent stop. So for example, at the end of the second variation, it starts like this. The start of the first variation starts like, sorry, let me rephrase that. The start of the second variation starts like this. It repeats that. But at the end of it, there's another 2 repeats. The first repeat goes like this. But the second repeat is similar, but it ends like this. This low A here, this is the first note of the third variation. It goes like this. But for now we're just going to focus on the part in the first variation, which is this. This is just left hand alone on the tempo, because the tempo should be around 138 per crotchet. So if I just get my metronome up and get it all the way to 138, this is what it should sound like. I'll make it louder actually. That's what it should be. So bum 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 bum. That should be the speed, but we're making it a lot slower. So if I do the same bit there, but at a slower speed. If you think that's too complicated, you can slow down even more like this. Slow speed. So once we've mastered this bit with the that bit, we then move on to the next problem. So for me, we actually skip loads of variations. We skip the start of the second and the whole second, third and fourth variation going into the fifth. We actually my problem here is I struggle to variate, not a joke on purpose, variate from variation 5 to variation 6. So this is what it should sound like for this last, should we say, 4 lines of the last page of variation 5. And this next bit, it moves into the 6th variation now. Of weird timing, should you say? So let's rewind it a tiny bit. So the 5th variation starts like this, all nice and major and fluffy and candy and flowers and unicorns, that kind of thing. And then we move from that to this. This is one of the key changes in it. Major sense. I think we actually move into F sharp there and E flat there, so I think probably F sharp minor, like this. Never mind, I'm going to try it now. That's the harmonic version of the minor. So we move all the way from the lovely A major to a kind of solemn F sharp minor. And then we move to actually no key at all with here. Something we probably moved, Faz will say, probably wanted to move us to A minor, because during this bit we have G sharps and F sharps and actually an A flat at one point. But I think that is probably because he wants to stick with A minor. So if you listen, this is A minor usually. So this is without harmonic or melodic or any others. This is just plain old A minor. It's basically the minor version of C major. C major, A minor. The things with minor keys, we have things called harmonics and melodics that I just talked about a second ago, I mentioned. This is a harmonic version of it. We raise the 7th. So we end up getting, so this, I'll just play this bit with G sharps, as that is the 7th. It sounds kind of an Egyptian kind of sense, ancient Egyptian kind of sense. And but if we do melodic minor, you raise the 6th and 7th. Don't quote me 6, 7, or anything like that. We do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then so raise 6 and 7, and then we go 8. So whole octave. The same plain old A minor, but on the way down from the top. So we do melodic going up, going down, plain old A minor. So in that kind of sense, he makes it move into an E flat minor. So for this bit. This bit where I'm struggling. So the end of the 5th into 6th. And this bit actually continues on to the last 2 pages. So once you've fixed that bit, you may want to try it also a bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So once you've completed that bit, you may, well for me, I have one more bit at the end. And it's this kind of, it's a weird part of the music. You may not find it in lower grades, but it's this mark here. Now there's 3 lines, I think there's only 3 lines anyway, but it asks you to kind of variate from each key. So it's asking us to variate from this D to this chord here, G sharp and other D. It should sound like this. But as you can see, I struggle doing that, because my hand kind of spasms, if you will. Spasms. Kind of gets a bit too excited, if you can think about that. And then it continues. And I keep on doing that an octave too high. So that is an octave too high. It should go. Sorry, and then the same thing again. This time on C and F sharp. And this bit's a bit easier. So let's try it both hands together. Nice and slow. And if you want, you can feel like speeding up a bit. this, I'm trying to memorise it for a competition I'm going to do. So what I'd do is, to start off with the basics, I've already got past basics, but you'd start off with the first bar, so this here. Thankfully, there is only one line in the whole of this first bar, but usually if there were two lines, you'd split them up. So you do right hand first or left hand first, whichever way around you want to do it. So, I'll get it to a bit. So for example, if I wanted to do this bit here, from memory, I'd split it up into two hands. So I'm going to do left hand and right hand. You can do right hand and left hand, but it doesn't really matter which way you do it. I just find it easier doing left and right hand. And you just play that bar, or for me a line, I know to do. But if you try and do this bar, so one beat at a time, very slow, and then try it without manuscript. See, I made a mistake there. So I'd go in, have a look at where the bar is, so the second bar on this line, so bar 10, I'd be very slow with it. And try and do that 3 times. So obviously not that speed, but you do it slower 3 times. You can close the book and try and do it slowly, remember it. Maybe it helps close your eyes. I find it helps sometimes close my eyes. Because obviously the front of this book has loads of quavers and crotchets on it. There you go, you got it right. So now, try the right hand now. Try that 3 times. Close the book. You want to do that 3 times again. If you get it right, look inside. And this time, for a bit of a challenge, try and do it both hands together, slow. And gradually up the tempo, so you can gradually get to this with the manuscript. But what you want to do is you want to stay slow, close the book, and try and do it 3 times at this speed. So I'd say that's probably a quarter or a half of the performance speed. So half of this. So half of 138. So half of 13 is 6.5. And half of 4 is 65. So half of 8 is 4. So 65 plus 4 is 69. So then you want to play the 69. So what you'd originally do is, turn off this bit. What you want to do is you want to keep it slow. Do 1 beat for each crotchet. Sorry. And try and do it half your speed. If you master that, or try and get it right as many times as you can, maybe try and do it at a faster speed, like this. And you continue and build it up until you've got all the beats. So now I'm going to try, because it's very early on for me to do this. It's very early for me to do this, as I only have a short amount of time, because my thing's in November. This is October. I'm recording in October, I think. Yeah, October, nearly Halloween, actually. So we want to try and do it slowly from memory, like this. and tried to play it from memory. Obviously, I got very far for, I think it's probably the 10th time I've tried doing it, but you don't always improve really fast. I just find it easy. When you're first starting trying to memorise a piece, always do it slowly. But as I've done it multiple times, I've done it fast. So I got up to this bit, which is very technical. Lots of octaves where you're doing 1 to 8, just for beginners watching this video. So I got to this bit. Sometimes you may find it even sometimes you may find it hard to play it slowly. So where I got to was just before this kind of change, where every time when we got to the part, or any octaves going down like that, in the left hand it goes up to semitones again, and sometimes that's the real jump that really confuses me sometimes, because I finished playing it, or I've messed up. So hit. It's not usual that, for me, because I found it a bit tough to learn this, that I always thought it was again, like the start thing. 2 identical notes in an octave lower. So you'd find that harder. So what you'd do is you'd circle it on the manuscript, you'd write it down in the notebook. Again, the notebook is very important. Write down the bar, and the next practice you do, you focus on where you've not remembered it, as we've been trying to do from memory. So then, what you want to do is you want to leave it there for that piece. If you found anything else when you were playing it, and you didn't stop for it when struggling, maybe focus on that before you finish the piece. Focus on the mistake you made. If you can't find it, maybe try and record it when you're doing the memory. That's what I usually do. I usually record it on this device I'm recording on now for this video. So what you do is find the bar. So for me, it was here. Yes, it was there. You'd circle it. So you just circle it. Very bad circle. It's a circle. Very faint there. And then that is bar 57. So I go into my notebook. I'm on a page. Date today is a date. Very helpful for me. I think it's the 28th. So 28th, 10th, 2025. I do Fazil say, or if you want to remember the last person's name, you remember, really helpful. Then you do bar 57 and try and describe what you messed up on. So for me, I put bar 57, comma, identical note. And then I put LH. LH means left hand, RH right hand. So you want to do that. So once you've done that, you move on from that piece and you move on to your next piece. So for me, this last piece is another piece I'm doing for a performance. I've just left it half open because it's very hard to leave it, because otherwise I have to use this peg. Very helpful, this peg actually. You can peg it on its own manuscript. It's literally just your standard wooden drying peg. You'd probably get at Tesco or somewhere, or Aldi, Sainsbury's, any shops. You'd probably get these high quality ones, better than these from someplace else. But anyway, I've digressed. If you're struggling to open the manuscript, use those. So what I do here is I do the same thing as Faz will say, focus on the mistakes I made from last time playing the manuscript. So I played the manuscript in a previous practice yesterday, and today I'm looking at it now and focusing on that problem. I did not record it doing memory. Sadly, I can't show it to you guys, but I would have practiced the memory bit. So I'm going to now practice this bar 25. This is Mozart's Sonata number 4, but in the book it's sonata number 4. I know it isn't actually sonata number 4. It's his sonata K553 and 494. I'll find it else and put it up in like the right hand corner or somewhere on the screen once we get to it. So once I'm editing. So I'm going to try this now, slowly and under tempo. These two videos will be stitched together in a minute. I'll do that afterwards. But I digressed a bit. So I'd practice that part. Once you've done that part and you feel secure with it, I'd say try and do it 3 times at your speed and then try and up the speed if you can. But for now I'm just going to move on to the next bit. So for this next bit, it's a bit staccato because this is one of the few, I think one of 3 or 4 movements in this Mozart. And I'm only practicing the first movement because it's big. The whole piece is very, very long, like, I don't know, 20 minutes at a push, at the speed I'm doing. Maybe 20, 30 minutes. But I digress. I'm going to practice this bit slowly and under tempo because this bit I find struggling. I struggle with, I don't know, it's really hard English. So what I'm doing is I'm doing staccatos in the right hand and slurs in the left hand, like this. But I'm going to do it at a slow tempo, not like that. 'Tell. I did make a bit of a mistake at the end, so I'd slow it down. And just be careful with it, and practice it a few times. It's like this. Times, and make sure, if you don't feel secure after 3 times, maybe try it for 5 times. So, similar thing to this Say Now, the one before this, the Paganini Jazz. I think that's probably one of my favourites. I think my second favourite. My first favourite is the 4 I did earlier. So, I'm now going to try and do the Mozart from memory at a slow speed. So, this would be commonly at 72, but most people play it a lot faster. Sorry, let me just... Oh yeah, my measuring wasn't showing a low battery sign when there's batteries in it. So, this is what it would sound like. So, even though it shows... Oh, Grave just reset it. So, even though it shows crotchet on here, we want it to be in minim, so that would be 2 beats. So So we don't want to half it because that'd be way too slow, because 7 divided by 2 is 4.5, 2 divided by 2, 1, so that'd be 46, which is, I'd say, very slow. If you want to do it at that kind of speed, half the speed if it's slow, then try it. But I'm going to try it at kind of 3/4 the speed. I made a mistake there. So what I'd do is I'd look at where I was. So here we go. I didn't go up enough. So what I'd work on is I'd circle that part. So circle bar 59 to 60 here. So Mozart bar 59 to 60, and then I'd put rhythm both hands. Just ignore the scruffy handwriting. If you can see that it's very scruffy, but yes. So both hands, as I kind of messed up the rhythm, which made me lose concentration. So what I'd do is I'd practice it 3, 5, 7 times with the manuscript, and then try it without manuscript, but at a slower speed than I was doing it with the manuscript. So that is it. From tips and tricks, I might add a tiny bit at the end, I don't know, because I'll figure out when I'm editing. But I hope you enjoyed this. You know what people say, like, subscribe, share, that kind of thing. Not really into that kind of thing, but I don't mind if you do subscribe. It'd be nice to have people looking at my videos. But I hope you found this helpful, these tips and tricks, and there are some more things that may help you. I'll attach photos of things like this sheet that helps me with my practice, and the 2 other sheets that I find helpful for memorising. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.